Hello, welcome back to the channel. So I thought I would talk a bit about epic American Wars of Independence. It's a period I've got an interest in, and as you can see, this is my 10mm American War of Independence force. I'm actually quite excited by Epic Battles American War of Independence. I really like the scale, really like the look of the armies. So what I thought I'd do is talk a bit about British Army and an American Army in a separate video, what you might expect, what could expect from epic battles, and then when the model's gone pre-order, find out more information. I'll do a video talking about what's that. So what I've got with my British Army is several regiments of redcoats, a couple of Highlanders, some artillery, some cavalry, some First Nations, and some colonial militia, and some officers. So let's start talking about British regiments. So the British Army wasn't massive in the American War of Independence, and often you had companies on detachment and the commanders in the field were making do with what they had. Also, reinforcements were difficult to get, so often regiments weren't that big. But what you would have is King's Colour regimental flag. Now, actually, these before I got into paper flags, I actually made these out of modelling putty. These two here and these two here. They were my first adventures with flags, and then obviously I found the ability to get proper flags. Now, a British regiment at the time would have flank companies, which was a light company and a grenadier company, and the line company. Line company, standard uniform, as you can see here. So like a tricon hat. The different regiments will have different facings. So for example, what I've done with these is light blue facings, dark blue facings, yellow, you get the idea, light green, dark green, and mixed. Now, even though the grenadiers were part of the regiment, often they were deployed and formed up in its own separate grenadier battalions. So here we have my grenadier battalion. Again, you're making do with what you could. It was also quite relatively common in the peninsula, or certainly the battle, I can't remember the name of the battle, near Cadiz, British Army was involved in, used a lot of battalions by detachments. We also have some light infantry. Light infantry, I love the light infantry uniform, love the hats. Similar sort of hat, I forget the name of it, but it's the same as a sort of British cavalry there. And it was during the American War of Independence that the British Army really invested in and developed light infantry tactics. One of Glasgow's most famous sons, Sir John Moore, who would lead the British in the peninsula and defeat the French at the Battle of Corunna and sadly die at the Battle of Corunna. He was a young officer and he was instrumental in developing the British light infantry. Actually, there you can see with my grenadiers how they've all got different facings. And again, I can either deploy them as a grenadier unit or have them attached to the units. I also have, since I live in Scotland and every opportunity I get to do a Scottish regiment, I have two Scottish regiments. And I think just for ease, I left the kilts green. I didn't do any tartan in 10mm. And pretty much same as the British, you would have grenadier light and regular formations, companies. Now the cavalry. So I have this cavalry, pretty much an American Legion force, raised from locals, British Dragoon force. These had their famous tarleton helmets. Oh, see if I zoom in. And these have helmets akin to the light infantry. There's also some artillery here. So it's notable that Royal Artillery wore blue jackets. So some medium guns and some light battalion guns. Now, even though the American War of Independence is portrayed as the British forcing their will on the colonies, there were Americans who fought for the British. In fact, I think it was King's Mountain was a notable battle where a British militia was forming and the Americans were able to ambush them and break up the militia. But here we have our Loyalist Militia Regiment, and I've also got First Nations Indians painted up who sided most with the British. Not that the British government were that much better than the Americans, but they were more for respect and treaties that were already established. And finally, we've got some officers. So I always do, even for these were based up for Washington's Army, which is a Peter Pig set of rules. But I always do my officers, high command on a bigger round base, battalion commanders on smaller bases. So there you have my army so far. So actually, in black powder terms, if I was playing black powder, I've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 regiments, 2 Highland regiments, Grenadiers, light infantry, and the stuff there. So quite a force. Now the American War of Independence supplement's really interesting. I really like it. Doesn't have army lists in it. It's more based around scenarios. So I'd expect the Wars of Independence Epic Battles book to have an army list in it. But anyway, that's me having fun talking about my War of Independence. Part 2 will be looking at my Americans again. And again, I know I've looked at these armies before, and I've refought some of the battles of the American War of Independence with them before and talking through as well. So you may have seen these before on this channel. But anyway, I hope you're looking forward to the American War of Independence as much as I am, and I'll give some commentary about the uniforms and the model range when we know what's coming out. But that's bye for now. Goodbye.